Alright guys, welcome to another exciting installment of Tech Tanks. We're going to expand on the previous video that was made on LAMP servers. The previous video demonstrated how to make a Linux Apache MySQL PHP server with running WordPress. During that video I mentioned virtual hosts. And I wanted to go ahead and expand on that a little bit further in this video so you can understand what a virtual host is, how to set it up, and things like that. Now, a virtual host, when you do virtual hosting, you are basically hosting multiple websites on a single server. This can obviously save you quite a bit of money. You don't need to set up multiple servers, not to run multiple virtual machines. You can just run everything off of one. And depending on what domain name is passed through, it determines what directory it goes to, things like that. It's pretty easy to set up. We could probably get this knocked out in less than 10 minutes with some explanations and a demonstration. So let's go ahead and get this started here. Okay. Alright, now what we're going to do is hop straight into a terminal. And we're going to go to the Etsy Apache 2 sites available directory. And we're going to go straight into the WordPress conf that we made in the previous video. Okay, now I did make a little bit of a variation. I changed the server name and server alias that's going to fit into this virtual host setup that we're going to do. And to just kind of quickly explain what server name and server alias are, the name is the host name and possibly the port that the server uses to identify itself. The alias is additional names that the host may use when basically matching any requests that are coming in to the virtual host. So in this case for this lab, we're going to just set up both of them to be the same as far as for on each virtual host. But as I said in the previous video, depending on what it is you're setting up, obviously change whatever configurations you need to. So this one is going to be called the lab virtual.lab for the server name and also the server alias. Okay, and then we're going to keep the same server admin as well because, well, I'm managing both, I guess. So the document root, this is definitely going to be different from the previous one. We're going to make another directory called virtual. We'll do that in a moment here. I'm going to just go ahead and combine the error logs, but naturally you can change that to whatever it is you want. Okay, and then same with the custom log. Wow, I cannot type right now. Okay, log directory. And we'll do access.log combined, and then we're going to go ahead and close this off. Oh, I had that right actually. Okay. At a quick glance, everything looks fine. We'll run the config test and all that in a moment. First, let's go over here, and then we're going to make the virtual directory. And just to remind you, this is the same directory where we're hosting the WordPress one. I don't know why I unassigned the ownership. Probably doing something earlier and messed something up, but neither here nor there right now. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just make a quick HTML file so that way we can pull something up when we go into the web browser. So let's see. So we're going to just do doc type HTML. We'll just do the header 1 and do this as a test. And then we'll of course put a paragraph in there. This is a different web page. Okay. Alright, so we went ahead and got that done. Now we're going to go ahead and run the Apache 2 CTL config test. Everything's looking good. Remember, it does have this because it cannot reliably determine the server's fully qualified domain name. There's no DNS running for this. There's no domain name that I've set up. Again, this is a lab environment, but we are actually going to kind of set up a domain name. I'll show you that in a moment. So syntax okay, that's what we care about. So we are going to go ahead and just to make sure everything is updated, we're going to restart Apache 2. Okay. And went off without a hitch. Now, one thing we're going to do, because we are now kind of determining this based off of simply the name, we're going to need to give Ubuntu a way to resolve the names that we're going to be putting in. Okay, and just kind of as a quick reminder, it is the lab.virtual.lab and lab.wordstuff.lab. Okay, each one will designate to a different web address, or sorry, different directory, same web address. So what we're going to do is we're going to edit our etc host file. The etc host file, and this is also on Windows, what this file does, this is kind of the first stop your computer makes to resolve a domain name. So if you type in, for example, randomwebpage.com, that actually might pull something up, maybe a legitimate page, but if your computer will check this file first. If it has the IP address, so basically the computer address for that domain name, it will go ahead and resolve it. In the previous video, we kept typing in localhost. In the etc host file, that resolves to 127.0.0.1. So we're going to go ahead and just add to this, actually, the same spot here. And we're going to put lab.virtual.lab, and we're also going to put lab.wordstuff.lab. And as a reminder, that is from the Apache 2 configuration file that we put under for sites available, WordPress. Okay, WordStuff, that should get us to the WordPress one, and then virtual should get us to the one that we just made today. Okay. All right, so everything should be good to go. Let's go ahead and fire up Firefox, and we're going to just put http lab.we'll start with virtual.lab. This is a test. Perfect. Now remember, based on our etc host file, these route to the same thing, but Apache is running multiple web pages and it changes the directory based on what we type in here. So if I were to now put in WordStuff, this is going to pull up our WordPress. So there you go. It's actually all pulled up and ready to go. And just to kind of make sure everything's working correctly, we're going to go ahead and go to the WP admin login. And as you can see, everything is pulling up just fine. And this is kind of what we were wanting to go for. We're now hosting multiple websites on one server. Both are using port 80. I mean, everything works. And as far as for the configuration from the previous video, we did put in the, for example, something random. And if you recall from the previous video, it used to say Apache 2.4, I think 2.4.4 or something like that. Anyway, it was given the version numbers, telling you this is running on Ubuntu, localhost, all that fun stuff. Now it's not. If we were to go to, this is doing localhost. Interesting. Let's make sure that works on the lab.wordstuff.lab, and then we'll do random stuff. There we go. Okay, so see, now we're pulling the same thing, which is what we look for. That's probably from yesterday's history or something like that. So anyway, let's go ahead and make sure that works on this one as well. Lab.virtual.lab, and we'll just put blah. Same thing. Okay. So our configurations that we'd set up previously still apply to this one, as far as for the Apache configurations, and that's something to keep in mind. Whatever was set up on WordPress itself or the PHP, well actually PHP will transfer to everything as well because that was the generalized PHP file. And then of course the MySQL. Whatever we set up on there, that is specific to that table, those settings, but anything in regards to Apache is still going to be the exact same here. So nothing has actually changed. Everything's good to go. And that is virtual hosting. We have multiple websites, one system, configurations and all that. Everything still applies. The only thing that will change, if you are legitimately hosting a website and you have, you purchased your domain name and all that, and you have all that running, nobody's going to need to edit their Etsy host file. But this is just something we have to do without a domain server running on this, resolving these names for us. So hopefully that helped you guys understand the virtual hosting just a little bit better, and I will see you guys in the next video.